At first, I thought, oh shit, this is sleep paralysis. She was on my body and started touching me down there. Ooh, and started whispering in my ear. A very nice lady. Niu Lam always happened at exactly 6:44 in the morning. She still remembers the face. My shaman, he just stares at the girl. You told me that your name is Jennifer, but hey, I have an interesting story to share today. Without further ado, I'm gonna just read it. Hey guys, it feels a little weird to write all this, but I really feel like I should share this with somebody, and hopefully I can get help. I don't know if it's just me, but something really strange happened. I cannot stop thinking about it. And to be honest, I used to not believe in this kind of stuff, but after this, I really don't know anymore. So this happened about 3 years ago. I was just done with my military service, and mostly I stayed home doing nothing. I had no idea what to do with my life. I was living alone in a small apartment near Guro, Seoul. The place was cheap, but it felt pretty off. It was not a basement, but it was damp, and the air felt heavy. The window was tiny, and there wasn't much light coming in. The room was always gloomy, but I signed the lease anyway because the rent was so low. You can tell why it was so cheap. One night, I stayed up late playing games as usual, then went to bed. I didn't fall asleep deeply yet, but just in that between state, you know what I mean? When I suddenly felt something heavy on my body. At first, I thought, oh shit, this is sleep paralysis. But then, the air in the room started to feel funny. I felt chilly, heavy, and I could sense something or someone coming closer to me. That's when I saw her, a woman with long hair. I like short hair personally, but anyway. I couldn't see her face clearly, but her outline was very sharp, and she smiled that felt really strange. It wasn't a very comforting smile. It was kind of that made you freeze. At first, I was really scared. But then, little by little, the fear started to fade. And instead, I felt drawn to her, like I couldn't look away. It was like she made me under a spell. She was on my body and started touching me down there. Ooh. Her hands were so cold, okay, but they didn't feel bad, obviously. To be honest, I was a bit aroused. I would. My heart was racing, and I didn't want her to stop. She kept moving, and then she leaned in and started whispering in my ear. A very nice lady. I couldn't understand what she was saying. It sounded like some foreign language or some random sounds. Niu Lam, but I couldn't focus on the words. The weirdest part is that it felt so real, as if an actual person was touching me. She kept on moving on my body, and I could feel her weight pressing down on me. After I finished, I woke up. I was sitting up in bed, breathing hard. Underwear was wet, okay? Like I just had been through it for real. And here's the weirdest part. It happened many times after that, and it always happened at exactly 6:44 in the morning. Every single time. And after it was over, the room would smell like some kind of incense. Usually not a very good sign. After nights like that, I would feel exhausted the whole day. Like something had drained all my energy. I even lost more than 5 kilograms during the time. My friends started asking me if I was okay because I looked pale and tired all the time. But how could I tell them the truth? It's a weird story. They would think I'm a crazy person. So yeah, I'm here asking you guys, has anyone else been through something like this? Or is it just me? So the story is about spectrophilia. It's a bit different to spectrophilia because spectrophilia apparently, according to the wiki, is a fetish. But what this guy experienced is more of he was basically being forced to have sex with the spirit, right? This actually happened to one of my friends, although I think this story is made up. I think it's an interesting story, whether it's true or not. But I actually have a friend, a lady friend, who has been through this exactly the same story. But there are a lot of stories like this out there in Korea, and usually I think these stories are made up because it's interesting. But this phenomenon that someone is being forced to have sex with a spirit, they have a purpose, and the purpose is usually possession. So it's really not a good thing. And you should see someone. It can be stopped. My friend's case, she went through this when she was a virgin. She was in high school. We don't lose our virginity that early in Korea, so it was quite normal that she was a virgin at the time. She was at last year of high school, I think, and in her case, her room was a problem, so she switched her room. So she went through this like 3 or 4 times, and she couldn't tell her parents, and then she made up some excuse for her parents, and she started to sleep in the living room. So, and it never happened. And every now and then she sleeps in her own room, then it would happen again. That house was in Daegu, right? So, and now she's living in Seoul, so it doesn't happen at all. Okay, the common thing is, she said it felt really good. And she said that, a few things. She was always tired every time it happened, the whole day, the next day. That intimacy is sensational, apparently. It's really good. It's usually better than the real sex, apparently. Yeah, did I mention that I believe in shamanism? But the stories like this, I usually don't buy it. But at the same time, my friend, real friend, she went through this. So I kind of have to believe it as well because it's exactly the same story. Usually, when you go through stuff like this, you go to shaman to deal with the problem because it is a problem. It's not a good thing. Yeah, you don't want to be possessed, right? So it's a fun story. Yeah.
So how about you? What would you like to you have experienced kind of 귀적?
귀적? No.
It's a bit strange, scary, but physically, she gives you extreme pleasure. How would you feel like that?
How Korean shamanism interpret this is this. In Korean shamanism, they believe that there's a specific spirit. They approach you to have sex like this to allure you. And as I mentioned earlier, in the end, they want to be with you in your body together. So possession, basically. So it's really unhealthy and it's not good for you. And you look tired. And the guy in the story said he lost like 5 kilograms, which is not good. Unless you're on like an extreme diet, you don't want to go. You don't want to go there. And my friend said as well. Like, I mean, at that moment, it feels really good, but she doesn't want that, obviously. And she's about my age, and that happened when she was 19, Korean age. So I was like 18. She still remembers the face, apparently. That's different because she saw the face and it was 아저씨. That was really horrible. She was like a high school girl and having sex with a 아저씨 ghost is terrible. Yeah, it was interesting because she was a virgin at the time, and that was her first experience. Like, oh, sex would be this nice, and then she had a real sex, and it was like, oh, it's not as nice. She's not one of those like a liar type, so I believe her. We're good friends. She's very good looking though. She's very cute.
Okay, can you imagine that if she's your type? In the end, what you could be is you have a position, or you lost your soul, spirit.
Because I have a regular guy I speak to. I mentioned this in other vlog as well. If that happens, whether she's my type or not, I would call him because it's a problem. Once is probably good, but also I hate sleep paralysis. I hate it. It's fucking scary. People see things in the sleep paralysis, but I haven't. But it's still terrible. I really hate it. Yeah. I would never want this. I would rather meet the real girl.
So, do you believe in such a things like ghosts or supernatural? Do you believe in that?
I believe in shamanism. We talked about this many times. I believe that in every culture there's shamanism and that's real. I do think that's real in every culture, as real as any religion in the world, as real as all those main religions. I think local shamanism is a real thing, so I do believe it. But like ghost stories or scary movies, that kind of stuff, I don't buy it.
What's the difference? The scary movies and what you believe in?
What I believe in is how Korean shamanism works is there's a guy, there's a shaman who can communicate with the spirit, and that spirit is usually your ancestors, but not one generation, two generation, but like generations above. So you wouldn't know who that is, and the being a shaman usually run through a family, so it's not really a choice. It happens to you. It's a long story, but to tell you the short version, it runs through family, and you are chosen. And it's not like the shamans can see everything. No, they cannot. They usually just communicate with the ancestors, and they can see things. So the shamans, they can see the spirits, and with some spirits they can communicate with, but they don't have that kind of superpower like getting the lottery number or what's going to happen tomorrow. They predict future, but prediction, it means that it could be wrong. A lot of Koreans, they don't really have this understanding, so they naturally assume that all the shamans anywhere in the world, they're fraud, liars. But if you got to understand, like nobody in this world, including all the shamans in different cultures, they don't see the future. They can predict close future. They can predict close futures. And also some people can predict like a big picture of someone's life, but not all the details. Without the details, they just kind of foresee the future. But it's a gamble. It's a gamble.
An interesting point is that you said like the shaman usually find the past of your life, right?
Yeah.
It's quite common, right?
Yeah.
It's not so surprisingly.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Please talk about this.
Okay, so I have a good example of my shaman getting the current and the near past correctly without listening to it. So usually when you visit the shaman, they talk first. They don't ask any questions because basically they don't want to play. So like for example, because I introduced my shaman to my close friends, and his reputation is everywhere. A lot of friends of mine, they know that guy, and the words travel fast. And a friend of my friend is she. She hit me up on DM because we don't even have a number, and she goes, "Oh, I'm friend of this guy, and apparently you have a good shaman in Busan, and I'm going to visit Busan very soon. I want to meet him. Like, can you please give me the number?" And okay, and I gave her a number, and she told me like 2 weeks later, she DM'd me like so many messages. It's like, why does she fancy me or something? And they opened it, and it was a story of the shaman, and she was very happy. Okay, so let's say her name was Jennifer Lee. I didn't even know her name when she DM'd me. It's like, okay. And she goes, "Oh, my name is Jennifer Lee, and I want to see that guy." I was like, "Okay, go ahead." And she said she traveled Busan, and she stopped by. And she entered the room, and the guy my shaman, he just stares at the girl, and he goes, "You told me that your name is Jennifer, but the weird thing is I see two names on you. So what's up with that? Which one is your real name?" Because I didn't even know her name when she DM'd me. So the whole story was very new. Apparently, she changed the name from Sophia to Jennifer. Koreans do that a lot here. And also, it's a very easy process to legally change your name here. There are many reasons. Also, the reason why you change your name is also related to the shamanism. But let's save that stories for another time. So the guy, he got that right. And she's not big on SNS, like Instagram and Facebook and all that. So only her close friends know the fact that she changed the name. I didn't even know her name at all when she sent me messages. So apparently she recently changed her name. And the guy said there are two names, and you usually your ancestors look after you. And because you legally changed your name and you didn't let them know, they don't know who you are, where you are, so they cannot help you. So it's a problem. And that's the first thing he said. So what is your name? Is your name Jennifer or something else? Like for example, he doesn't know Sophia. That kind of details they cannot see, but they see the big picture. The big picture, like the big fact that she changed the name, and she only told him the new name. And his limit is that he cannot see the old name. See what I mean? So he gets the facts right, but not with all the details. Do you understand that, right? I think, in my opinion, that's still good enough. Amazing, if you ask me. So so that was the first thing he said. And this kind of information, she didn't post it anywhere. And usually you make a reservation the day before. So unless he's like a hacker, hacking into like a government system, you cannot find out she changed her name. And she got amazed, and other things, other personal stories he revealed without asking. And then so my shaman, he remembers her as like a client from Seoul, right? And the long ass message she sent me, he has a lot of stories, but I'm gonna just share that the name story because it's all personal. Overall, she was very happy with my shaman. And she became regular with that guy. One thing about that guy is he doesn't rip you off. So she was very happy with that as well. And she was very, very happy. She has a lot of cousins in Busan. So girls likes to talk, right? So she told all her cousins about this guy because her cousins are already living in Busan. So one of her cousins, she went to see him a week after as well. Because I heard all these stories because a week after she sent me this long ass messages as well. So anyway, her cousin went there. We usually don't tell him that, oh, my friend is gonna go visit you. No, we don't. What's the point? So that's how usually shamanism works in Korea. Just pass around the numbers and recommendations, word of mouth. That's the natural marketing. Anyway, so her cousin went there a week after, and then she sits down and without asking any questions, just said hello. The guy goes, you got my contact from somebody who came from Seoul. And then without confirmation, he wrote Jennifer Lee and showed it to her. And the cousin was fucking amazed. Yeah, that kind of stuff. See what I mean? So this is a short story. It doesn't have anything to do with future, right? So and also this gimmick a lot of Korean shamans do is they get the current or near past facts correctly, and you are amazed because he doesn't ask any questions usually. And then a lot of shabby shamans, their approach is like this. See, I got your facts right, so you gotta trust me, and you got a problem right now. I can solve it. So you give me like a grand or $5,000 USD, then I can perform this ritual to make your life better. That's fraud. That's the easy gimmick they do usually. So that's how they make money. My shamans, he doesn't do that. But you have to remember that you visit a shaman, and it's very much likely that they will get some facts right about your current situation, and then they would attempt to open your wallet in a big way. So that's what you have to be careful about. Yeah.
When do people usually go to shaman?
Well,
They have a problem?
it's a long story, but I'm gonna give you a short answer. It's a long story because Korean shamanism is embedded in our culture deeply. But short version. A lot of girls are more into it than men, right? And usually young girls go there to ask about their boyfriend or future husband. That's it. And then when you're married and you have kids and the life hits you, right? Then you have a problem again. Because when you're single, you're curious about your future husband, but you got your husband and you have your kids now, but things are not as smooth as you expected. Then you usually go to shaman to ask about your kids because your kids are not studying hard enough, or there's something shady going on with your husband. So that's when you go as well. So it's funny because I came back to Korea and I went to graduate school, and there's so many friends in graduate school. They always go to shaman. Like every Saturday, they go to this well-known, famous shaman and ask them about their future boyfriend or husband material, blah blah blah. And once they're married, they don't go. They don't go for like a 10 years, and then their kids are like growing up fast, and then they go again. And a man, when men go, it's usually about their job and their private business. Usually a lot of 사장님, like a business owners, they go there a lot because they want to be bigger. They want to be someone in their life. Men usually don't go and ask about their wives and kids, but wives, they do. I think it's a lot to do with priority. Men's priority is more like a money and business. And girls' priority is usually family, husband and kids. Yeah.
그러면 중요한 거는
네.
그들이 과거를 맞췄다고 해서
네.
미래를 반드시 맞출 수 있는 건 아니다라고
그렇죠.
말씀하셨잖아요.
그렇죠.
그렇다면 그런 샤먼들은
네.
결국 어떤 솔루션을 제공해 주기 때문에 가나요?
Well,
바람직하게는.
what do they provide? What they provide? They provide, for me, this guy, he provides me emotional comfort. So he is more like a psychiatrist for me, but he sees things which is weird. It's impossible. Some stories I have, like personal stories, I'm gonna share later on. Not in this episode, but some stories I went through with him. It cannot be explained. But mostly he's a good friend, a very decent person, and he wants things to go smooth in your life. But he cannot do it. He cannot do it on his own. He tries to drive his clients to the right direction when it comes to career choice, investment, like big investment such as like buying a house, stuff like that. But he doesn't have this analysis of real estate and blah blah blah. But he just has advice from ancestors. So obviously, if you only trust your shaman and make life decisions based on shaman's advice, you're stupid. It's just advice. And there's some things you choose not to believe what they say. There's some things that you choose to believe because they make a lot of sense. I recommend my shaman to my friends because he's a wise guy and he's a very warm heart and he's not after money. But thing is, our relationship is based on the transaction. I pay him and he give me advice. It's a business. But at the same time, you You go to the doctor. It works the same way. People don't think hospital is a business office, right? Hospital is where business transaction happens. You pay the doctors and they make shitloads of money, but they give you the pills, they give you the solution to improve your disease, right? Shaman is the same way. He gives me emotional comfort. That emotional comfort that I cannot get from literally anybody in the world. That's that. Second of all, they provide short-term / long-term solution in your life. Let's say I'm working for Samsung, but LG approached me with a bigger salary. Is it a good choice? You can ask that kind of question, because in that case, he can give you long-term advice. My ancestors, my spirit. His spirit is grandmother, like a grandmother. He calls a 할머니. So the grandma, she can tell you stuff like this. Although you're not gonna get a raise from Samsung for a few years, but I see a very good career path in that. But in LG, you have instant raise, but you don't really have a future there. You're not gonna last long. You might be fired in a few years. Stuff like that. It's kind of, but at the same time, you shouldn't make that decision only based on the shaman's advice. But that kind of stuff you can ask. So also, it's grandma's prediction. She could be wrong. Yeah, you're an adult. You should make your own decision. But you can ask your friends. You can ask your boss. You can ask your shaman. You can discuss with your wife. Yeah, shaman is just one of them. I often compare shaman's prediction for future to choosing your life partner. For example, husband and wife. Also, it works the same way as investment. Reason being, they see the current situation and near past. They can see very clearly and they study it. And then they predict the next move, which is the future. It's the same when you date. Let's say I have a girlfriend, let's say that. And I see my girlfriend and we date for like 2 years. So I know her recent past, near past, which is like past 2 years. And currently she is like this. And I like many things about her, ups and downs. I analyze it and I make the best decision whether to marry her or not. But the future, nobody knows. I could be wrong, but based on the current and near past, based on that, and I study that, and I do my own analysis and make my choice for the future. I could be wrong, but I could be right. Shamanism works the same way. Same as investment. You study a company, their performance, recent performance, current performance, and you decide whether you're gonna invest in that company or not, and invest in other companies, right? It works the same way. The point is, nobody knows. Nobody knows the perfect solution, and anybody could be wrong. Although you do your best and you try to you live your life fully, and everything you do in your life, you do your best. Shaman, if you meet a good shaman, he does the same. He does his best to predict the best choice for me, the client, and also as a client, am I gonna listen to him or not? I have to make the choice. A lot of people say that the Korean shamanism and shamans, they're liars. And shamanism is a bullshit because they cannot even predict the lottery number. If I was a shaman, I would see all the numbers in the lottery, and I would travel every country, win every lottery, and then become a rich guy. Doesn't work that way. They cannot see the numbers. They predict, and trust me, if you meet good shaman, they would admit that they could be wrong. Then what's the point of paying them and visiting them? What's the point of investment when you could be wrong? Why are you doing this? See what I mean? You see a doctor, psychiatrist. So doctors, psychiatrists, they try their best to solve your emotional problem, but some of them they cannot solve it, right? It's the same. They're not liars, but they are liars, and it's the same way. There are bad doctors who are not very good at their job, and like fund managers as well. They're incompetent finance people as well who lose their clients' money all the time and their own money. It works the same way. You gotta approach this quite lightly and very rationally as well. They're not like a Superman. They're people just like us.
Okay, so let's go back to the Guijab story. If I have experienced the Guijab, so what should I do? I have to go to shaman.
Yeah, you should.
Or I
You should.
move another place.
Because this what was the word? Spectrophilia, this kind of stuff. I usually don't really buy it. The only reason I believe this story is because one of my friends went through this, as I mentioned earlier. But usually I don't believe it. But from the stories I heard and read, and you can find out all about this from books of Korean studies. They explain all this. And if you have this problem, spectrophilia, or if you're being forced to have sex with a spirit, then you should move your house, or you should sleep in a different room, or you should see a shaman. And one of them could work, none of them could work. It's all different. But and also if you can find a good shaman, they can help. I wouldn't say they can solve it, but they would know. When let's say I am being forced to have sex with a spirit every night, and I go to any good shaman's house, then they would know right away. You have a problem with a spirit. That's really messed up. You should do something. Right. I have tons of stories of shamanism because I grew up in England. I was always skeptical about all this, and then when I came back to Korea, I tried to read about Korean culture and society. So I picked up some books about Korean studies, and they always talk about shamanism, which means Korean shamanism is very deeply rooted in our culture, in our lives. It doesn't mean that they are absolutely right, but a lot of things we do in Korea, it's somewhat related to local shamanism. And I lived here I had a bit of interest of shamanism, and then I had big problems. And then my friend recommended to see this guy and that guy. And I've met someone who is very incompetent as well. He was not very good. So I was very skeptical, but somehow I met this guy, my regular, and oh shit, the whole thing is real. And he's been helping me greatly with my problem and my life and my career choices. He's a good guy. I cannot stress this enough. You should be a good person in your life and then be good at what you do. My shaman is like that. And anyway, so with him, I have tons of stories that I cannot explain with science or logical explanation. And then I introduced a lot of my friends. So I heard a lot of stories as well. I have tons of stories. So, but I'm gonna share that very slowly. I know some of you think I'm fucking crazy, but I'll share the stories. I'm not stupid, so there's a progress how I end up believing all this. We talked about shamanism very lightly, but we will come back some other time. So I'm sure to all of you this topic is quite new, but you will get used to it because I'll share more stories in future. And before you judge, just let me share more stories, and you can decide whether you're gonna believe it or not. I'm not running any business with this, so just sharing good stories. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys later. Thank you for watching.